In this video, we're going to take a look at multiplying and dividing mixed fractions. If we have a mixed fraction, like 3.5 times 2 3/8, we really need to convert these into improper fractions before we do the multiplication. And so, as a review, remember, when you convert from a mixed to an improper fraction, between the denominator and the whole number is really a multiplication sign, and then an addition sign in the numerator. So to convert 3.5 into an improper fraction, it would really be 2 times 3 plus 1 all over 2. And we can do the same thing with this fraction. 8 times 2 plus 3, 8 times 2 plus 3 all over 8. And so here we get 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7 over 2. And then 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 is 19/8. And now we follow our rules for multiplying fractions, and we simply multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. And the denominator is no problem. 2 times 8 is 16. Now, for 7 times 19, maybe you can't do that in your head, so maybe we need to do some long multiplication here. 9 times 7 is 63. And remember, we bring the 6 up. 1 times 7 here is 7. 7 and 6 is 13. So we'll end up with 133. Now, 133 over 16 can also be changed now into an improper fraction. And for that, we now have to do our long division and divide 16 into 133. So we can try 7. Let's try 16 times 7. Firstly, so this is 6 times 7 is 42. 1 times 7 is 7, and 4 is 11. So we're at 112, and we can probably add one more 16 to that to get us 6 and 2 is 8 to 128. So we can divide 16 into 133 8 times, and 8 times 16 is 128. And now 133 minus 128, we now have here a remainder of 5. So 133 over 16 as a mixed fraction will be 8, and the remainder 5 over our original denominator, which was 16. So the steps here when you multiply a mixed fraction by another mixed fraction, or any fractions really, you need to really convert them to improper fractions first, then do your multiplication, and then do your reducing. And notice here I had to do some quick math, and if you can't do them in your head, there's nothing wrong with doing some scratch work just to make sure that you haven't made any errors. If we look at another example, and this one will make division. So if we have 4 3/4, we're going to divide that by 2 5/8. So again, what we need to do here is to convert both of them into improper fractions first. And so this first fraction here, this first fraction will be 4 times 4 plus 3, 4 times 4 plus 3, all over 4. And now 8 times 2 plus 5, so 8 times 2 is 16, and 5 is 21 over 8. No, I'm going to do this one the same way. 8 times 2 plus 5. And now 4 times 4 is 16, and 3 is 19 fourths divided by 8 times 2 to 16 plus 5 is 21 eighths. And now when we're dividing two fractions, remember, we invert and multiply. So here we have 19 fourths. We change the sign to multiplication from division, and we invert this denominator. And now, if you remember, in some past videos, what we did was we reduced at this point to make it easy. And 19 can't be touched. That's a prime number, but 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 8 two times. And so we lined up with 19 times 2 over 21, which is 38 over 21. And we could convert that as well to an improper fraction, and we know we're going to be less than 2, is 2 times 21 is 42. So we're going to have 1, and then 38 minus 21 is 17. So we'll have 1 and 17 21st. So that gives you an idea of how to divide fractions that are improper. And finally, let's take a look at an example that's involving both multiplication and division. So if we have 1 1/4 divided by 2 3/8 times 2 1/2. And so we're going to want to do the same thing here. We're going to want to convert to improper fractions first, and let's see if we can do that all in one step. Now that you've seen it so much, 1 times 4 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5 fourths. 8 times 2, converting the second fraction now, 8 times 2 is 16. 16 and 3 is 19 over 8. And now we have 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5 halves. And now the next thing we have to do is make sure that they're all multiplied. Remember, we can't reduce until all the sides are multiplication. So now we have 5 fourths times 8 19ths times 5 halves. And now we should be able to reduce here before we do our multiplication. 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 8 two times. And now these twos here, 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 2 once there. And so now really in our numerator, we have 5 times 1 times 5. And in our denominator, we have 1 times 19 times 1. And so we get 25 over 19. And 25 over 19, well, we have 1, which should be 19. And then here's another way to go when you're converting into an improper fraction. 1 whole would be 19, and from 19 to 25, we're going to get a remainder of 6, because from 19 to 25 to 6, so we'll get 1 and 6 19ths. So that gives you a look and a little refresher on multiplying and dividing next fractions.